Hi there. I am recording this on Friday morning, and I don't have a news segment today or video, but I do have a conversation with one of the smartest and most influential people in progressive politics. Amanda Litman is here today, my special guest from Run for Something, which is an amazing organization, and we had a great conversation. So happy that she joined me. She's got a very high profile, and deservedly so, because she is a smart, fearless, very insightful, very credible, reasonable, experienced person with great political analysis and a very impressive set of skills and leadership abilities that she's led this organization to help elect some pretty amazing people at local and statewide office, some of which gone on to run for even higher office, including James Tallarico. He's a Run for Something alumni. So is Mallory McMorrow and so many other superstars in the Democratic Party. So it's a big deal that I got her on the show, and I was real happy to catch up with her. Last night I hosted a hangout for paid subscribers. We were there for like 2.5 hours. And this week I hosted a video segment, which I posted on YouTube and everywhere else. It's been quite an experiment, and I'm going to try to continue doing it. But there are definitely going to be days that it's just going to be audio. And this is one of those days because it's also my dad's birthday. Happy birthday, Pop. That's right. My old man, Chisel D, the legend, the Iron Man, Superman, my dad. Yeah. Hey, Dad. Are you listening? Love you. Happy birthday. See you soon. Yeah, pretty excited. 82, 83, something like that. He wouldn't want me to tell you. He probably just heard me say that and cringe, but he's kicking ass. The guy still got it. Very excited to see him. All right. So that's the story. That's the deal. And I can't do the show without you. I can't get guests like Amanda without you and your support. So thank you for it. Go to patreon.com/Pete Dominick or get a paid subscription on Substack. They go to the same place, which is the work I do here in the pink room. I'm now calling it. I'm in the pink room because I'm going to be on video a lot more people are going to see me, and I'm going to stay with the pink background and backdrop. You'll see more of it. And this beautiful bald head. Okay. Let's get to my conversation with Amanda. Tell all of your friends to listen to this podcast and especially this conversation because it's so good and so important. And follow and support Amanda and Run for Something. Check out her books, Run for Something, a real talk guide to fixing the system yourself, and her new book, which I didn't get to talk to her about, but it's called When We're in Charge, The Next Generation's Guide to Leadership in May 2025. That was when it was published. Let's do it. There she is, one of my favorite, smartest people in all of progressive politics. You're going to have to deal with that compliment. Don't be modest. Amanda, welcome. Thank you for doing this with me today.
Thank you for having me. It's so kind of you.
Yes, I feel that the work that you've been doing since I got introduced to Run for Something is really effective, important work that I actually agree with and have seen be effective, which is talking about local elections overwhelmingly, state assemblies and so on. Basically, that's all you guys are doing still. Tell us who you're electing, and just in case people don't know Run for Something, what the kind of parameters are.
So Run for Something recruits and supports young, diverse leaders running for local offices all across the country. We have built a pipeline of more than 280,000 young people who've raised their hands to say they might want to run for office. We've endorsed more than 4,000 campaigns, and we've helped elect about 1,700 people across 49 states plus D.C., mostly women and people of color. A bunch of them have now run for and won higher office, and many, many more are running for and hopefully winning higher office this year. So we are, I think, building both the present and future leaders of the party.
Sometimes others will say we need to be focused on the House of Representatives, the Senate, the presidential elections. But I think we could use someone like James Tallarico as an example. Everybody knows who he is, but you were one of the first to know who he is because he's one of the candidates that you guys supported when he ran for Texas State House?
Texas State House back in 2018 when he was running in a very hard red to blue flip. He went across his district in a truck. He at one point, I think, walked across his district and ended up in a diabetic coma. He is incredible and a young leader who we knew before he was cool. I often feel like people who love music will be like, I saw them in the tiny black box theater show before they did the arena tour. That's how I feel about politicians, which is so lame.
It's not lame at all. It's exactly what we need an organization and people to be doing, which is recognize talent. I think one of the interesting things that you do is that people don't come to you. You go to them. You guys select people that maybe didn't even have an ambition, and you say, no, you're the one we've been waiting for. Sorry, Reverend, right?
Yeah, we do a little bit of both. A lot of ways we're trying to find people and ask as many people as possible if they've ever thought about running for office. Is there a problem you care about solving? Is there an office that could give you power to solve it? And we want to make sure that people know it's going to be hard. Your life is going to be under a microscope. It's a big sacrifice. But if you say yes, and if you go into it clear-eyed, we're going to help you every step of the way. We also do some proactive outreach. We reach out to people who are recommended to us. We do very targeted recruitment. So it's a little bit of column A and a little bit of column B.
I love your analysis. You're an organizer. I guess it's fair to say you're a marketer. You're a brand ambassador, I suppose. And you've worked on Obama's campaign, Hillary's campaign, and obviously started Run for Something, wrote the book. You can do it all, but I love your political analysis. I mean, I've stayed kind of in touch with you specifically through, I think, Threads mainly, where you're always weighing in on all kinds of issues and promoting candidates and other ideas. And I have to ask you, because you weighed in on it on Threads, about the DNC. We know that you're not supporting Ken Martin. I don't think anybody is at this point. But more importantly, what is the conflict? What is their role in the work that your organization and anyone else that's trying to elect local and state officials is? What is the national DNC's role? Why is it important?
So the DNC's role, especially in the 2026 elections, is actually pretty minimal. They do move money to the state parties. That's good. Funding state parties is good. Now, you have to have the money first. And I do think that's we're missing that part of the equation for what Ken Martin is doing. The program itself of moving money to all 50 state parties along with the territories, I agree with that. You have to raise the money first, and he is not raising the money. Now, the DNC does not do candidate recruitment. They don't really work with local races. We work closely with state and county parties. We work with local organizers on the ground. The DNC sort of maintains the voter file, but then a lot of it is then passed through to state parties. I think the bigger question right now is, what is the DNC's purpose over the next couple of years? The DNC runs the presidential primary process.
Yeah.
They shape the calendar. They shape who participates in debates. They are the sort of keeper of the rules of who can get delegates and how that process will play out. And we are likely to have a very competitive open primary in 2027 and 2028.
Oh, yeah. No, I think we're going to lose friends.
It's going to be horrible. I want to throw my phone into the sea just thinking about it.
It's going to be ugly, yeah.
It really matters that the DNC is competent, trusted, which is, I think, the most part, that they are trusted, and that they're able to build up the internal infrastructure you need. Because after that primary is over, the nominee takes over the DNC. The nominee takes over the institution. Right. They bring on the organizers. The infrastructure the DNC builds over the next 18 to 20 months becomes the general's campaign entity. If Ken Martin can't raise the money and can't get the trust, and nobody seems to want to work there, really good people at this point, it's hard to imagine senior people voluntarily deciding to go into the DNC. It is not well suited for the only thing it does that really, really matters over the next 3 years.
That brings me to another point that you often make, that we don't get often the best people running for state, local office, because even to be a state representative is, most states, I think almost all of them, a part-time job. It's not much money. So it's really hard to balance. And I mean, now it's, I think, harder than ever in a way, Amanda, to run for any office, including, because I've been involved in the BOE elections in my town for 7 years, and it's got as ugly as you can imagine here, and we should catch up. But, the town elections. But as soon as you run, now, even if you're not getting paid, even if you're a volunteer, they're calling you a pedophile. They're defaming you. They're slandering you. It is ugly. Your family feels unsafe. So you're not even getting paid. So you make an argument that they should be paid more. And how do we possibly change the way that kind of structure works? How important would that be, or how much of a difference do you think it would make to get, better candidates? Not that the people that step up that you recruit aren't amazing, but a lot of people do other things instead.
It's something we hear from people who think about running and then ultimately decide not to, is their personal finances do not give them the time or space to afford to. They can't have a job where they have to leave every 3 months out of the year to go serve in the state capitol. Or even if they have caregiving responsibilities, they can't go be a city council member because that would require them to pay a babysitter 3 or 4 nights a week. It's really, really hard. So I think one of the ways we can change
you have to have health insurance, and you need to work 40 hours a week to get it. How are you supposed to spend as many? Yeah, sorry to interrupt you, but that's one thing.
It's a real structural problem. So one of the things that I'm always hammering home is no, we should pay our elected officials more. We should also pay their staffs more. it should be a good, well-paying job to serve your community, because then you will get people who, one, don't come from money, but two, don't have to find outside sources of income that may be a little dubious.
I always love when you do that side talk out of the side of your mouth on Threads, and it always makes me laugh, Amanda. Just now, you have a fan just in terms of your humor and your delivery. You've really gotten really good at all this. So let me ask you about just the fundraising in general for Run for Something. You guys have done amazingly well, far beyond your expectations when you and your co-founder started this. I've heard you talk about this a lot. So, but it's still a struggle to raise money. What happens when you're trying to get people to donate to these state and local races? Because I know you often hear, and what happens, when you're asking the larger apparatuses or even the larger donors, I'm not sure what the strategy is, small donors, large donors, you'll take money from anywhere. But what are the kind of challenges that you're hearing that you think people get wrong and that people listening or watching will say, you know what, that's why I should donate to a Run for Something candidate or a local or state assembly office?
We hear from a lot of folks, love what you do, think it's so important, so inspiring, obviously working. We are moving all of our money to the House or the Senate this year, but we'll come back to you next year.
Who's we? Like, when you say we, that's not an individual donor's door.
No, it's usually high net worth individuals, it's foundations, it's family offices. Run for Something is really lucky to have more than 35,000 individual donors, grassroots donors giving $5, $10, $15, whatever they can. But a lot of the people who consider themselves really like political givers, the donor class, if you will, they care about the House and Senate. They care about federal races. They care about becoming an ambassador. They care about getting invited to cocktail parties. Some of them have more strategic goals than that, but some of them it's just the thing that makes the most sense and the thing that gets the headlines. So for us, what I try and really hammer home is that if you want to make it a little bit easier to win those state house, those congressional races, those Senate races, build a better bench, get better candidates, change the rules around voting in the state legislature, be part of the redistricting process, control who wins like the supervisor of elections or board of elections offices, make it so the county clerk is pro-democracy. The way to win these big elections is to win the small ones.
I'm sorry, that last one lost me. The county clerk. We have a county clerk that's very controversial in my town, not well liked, certainly by progressives. What was the point you made about the county clerk?
So in a lot of places, the county clerk will control the voter rolls. They'll control certifying the election. They will control where polling places are opened, whether or not there's sample ballots in lots of different languages. They're often the actual election administrator. That makes a big difference in how elections are run. Yeah.
So I don't know how you vet that as an individual or a local political party, but very important to do. Yeah. So when we're talking about what is happening right now in the progressive movement, you've seen it all through your career. You always seem so young to me, but hey, you got 2 kids now, 4 and 2 years old, and you've been at this for 15 years, I think. You started in the Obama campaign. You were like an intern.
Yes, I started in 2011 as an intern on the Obama campaign, so I've been doing this now 15 years.
Yeah.
I am 36, so young in spirit, if not in knees or in back pain.
I would generally never ask a person, much less a woman, much less a 30-something-year-old woman about her age, but you talk a lot about demographics. You have opinions, and your organization does, about who should be elected. Your organization really only works with people under 40. Why do you hate the olds, and why do I agree entirely with everything you say?
I hate the olds because they're going to get us into the water wars. No, I don't hate the olds. I think the olds are great. I think the olds...
Sorry, I did not see that coming.
Whatever. I think it's why I'm going to enroll my kids in Taekwondo. They got to be able to.
They're going to need a boat.
Yeah. Got to be good swimmers. I think for us, it is so clear that young people are left out of the rooms where decisions are made. Even now, with the number of young people elected to Congress, they are still wildly underrepresented. The median American is 38, 39. The median member of the House is 58, 59. The median member of the Senate is 63, 64. There are still barely 20% of state legislators are under the age of 40. It is just wildly underrepresented. And that has direct consequences for policy. You think about housing. Housing is probably the clearest issue to see it, but it's true across a bunch of things. Your experience as a 50 or 60-year-old in the housing market right now is so different than that from a 20 or 30-something. It's just incomprehensible. Similarly, I always feel it's really important to tell my grandma exactly how much I pay in childcare bills every month when she asks me, why don't you own a house? I don't know, Grammy. Have you seen how much I pay the lovely women who care for my children? It is outrageously expensive. And I don't think it's a moral failing of these older leaders that they don't understand that, they're not living it, they don't see it. But it has absolute consequences for how they prioritize legislation, for how they think about these things. In New York State Assembly, as an example, there are more landlords serving than there are tenants. What are we talking about here? That's like a real change in how you understand housing markets and regulation if you're viewing it from the perspective of someone who owns property versus someone who thinks they're never going to be able to buy.
Yeah. All really good points. Let's talk more about the youngsters. What do they want? What are their problems? I have an 18 and 21-year-old daughters, and so I have opinions, but I don't like to generalize about a whole generation because I could make both arguments. Oh, the kids these days are, and say negative and critical things, but I could also say amazing, brilliant, original things about it. And at the same time, I'll always have a lot of empathy. My daughter's going to the University of Amsterdam next year because she grew up with a generation of Americans who had to live with terrifying, paralyzing angst about getting shot in their school. Like, that's part of it. Part of why she wants to go to school somewhere else. So that's less of a concern. And so there's plenty of obvious concerns that young people have. I just don't like generalizing about them. You, however, work with them. You have data and you listen to them. And I also think it's really interesting to know what Generation X thinks too, because we've gotten pretty screwed over in a lot of ways and haven't seen much accountability for things like the Iraq War. And more importantly, that affected us more directly because only 1% of Americans serve. But the financial crisis, the housing, we bought a house in 2007 and then we turned the key and the housing bubble burst and we were underwater on our mortgage for 10 years in the most lucrative place to live. Just the suburbs of New York always goes up. Not for us. So talk to me about what young people think, and then we can maybe what a little older people think.
I think for young people, they're really seeking underneath it all agency. They want control over their destinies. It feels like they don't have the ability to control where they want to live, who they want to marry, what books they read, their economic future, the idea of going to college and being in student loan debt, or being shot at on campus, or graduating with a degree that's basically worthless because AI has taken all their jobs, or entering a job market where they're sending out thousands of resumes and hearing from 3 companies, or don't have the ability to make their own healthcare decisions. It is a sense of stifled agency, which then means that they are hungry for anything they feel like they can control. That's why you're seeing young people look towards gambling, look towards crypto, look towards short-term sort of thrills, because the future feels so uncertain. I think one of the biggest things that we are hearing from candidates right now is they want someone who can paint them a vision for their solutions, or a solution to their problems, rather, who has a vision for how things could not suck, could not feel so bad. That's why you're seeing some of the more farther left candidates really rise up, especially appealing to young people. It's not necessarily that young people are socialists. They're not. What they are is pissed off, and they want their problems to get solved. And if the left is the only one offering those solutions, then the left is where they'll go. In the same way that in 2024, Trump was offering solutions. Now, he could not deliver on those solutions, and in fact has broken most of his promises to young people, see going into the war in Iran. But they want someone who can say, I can fix this. Things don't have to feel this way.
But they are all offering government solutions, and government can't fix anything because government is the problem, is what a lot of Americans believe. Certainly Ronald Reagan started that, or maybe didn't start it. We get to talk about where it started. But that is a view, a very cynical, sarcastic view that a lot of Americans have. And I don't know about younger folks and people of color on that view, but there's a lot of just bitterness. And so how do you restore faith in government, or create, I should say, faith in government, because they never even had it? And I think it goes back to the answer you're giving, like offer solutions. I feel like what Mamdani is doing right now in New York and all the attention it's getting, it's like so many simple solutions that aren't that expensive, that are pragmatic, and that make a huge difference in people's lives. And they're somehow getting a tremendous amount of publicity. But he's doing that. But I don't know. What is the answer to convince people that government can solve some problems?
I think actually what Mamdani is doing is the answer to this, which is you make a promise during your campaign, and then you keep it, and then you tell people how you kept it, and you show them how you kept it, and they can feel how you kept it. I think this is one of the challenges with when people talk about like the 2020 to 2024 sort of Biden presidency. It's like, well, he did the infrastructure bill, he did this, he did that. It's like, one, people didn't feel that, but two, he couldn't sell it. He couldn't tell the story of that. So even if there was like a action, like the infrastructure bill was really meaningful, most of the stuff didn't start happening until much later, and he could not sell it. Mamdani's ability to sell what he's doing and to do the good thing, then talk about the good thing and close the loop, that's how you restore trust. I mean, I talk a lot about authenticity and why it matters for candidates and leaders to like be themselves and to be authentic. It's because authenticity is entertaining, but it's also a building block for trust. And if we want people to trust in government and trust the Democratic Party, they need to see that we are authentically trying, that we are communicating, and that we are doing the things we say we will do.
Sometimes it's hard to be authentic and likable, but I suppose that's what you look for in a candidate.
Well, and you don't even need necessarily be likable. You need to be yourself, because people are drawn to someone who's like very comfortable in their skin. You think about, I think about when I was a teenager, and the people who always drove me the most like crazy were the ones who were so clearly insecure and like didn't know who they were, where you were just like stop wearing a mask, stop faking it, be yourself. Like I wasn't a bully, but like I could understand the impulse to bully them, because it was like, you are just like a fraud. You don't know who you are.
I bullied them. I punched up at those, like the jocks who were just like that. I could see right through them, and they would be picking on and marginalizing, some kid who's an artist or someone like my older brother. And I would just I lived. That's why I'm still doing this stand up. It started in high school because those people I had a field day with. I was a little person too when I was a teenager. So I had to develop that kind of defense. But I appreciate what you're saying about that and why it's not about necessarily likability, but it's about the authenticity. So let me just ask you about some of the candidates that you got coming up. Highlight a few, and I'll put some links in and so on. But you got some elections next week, but you just shared on Threads like 8. But who do you want to mention? Name a couple. 2 or 3.
So you can find across social. I'm like trying to highlight as many of our candidates as I can. But this upcoming week in Michigan and Missouri, we've got some amazing people. Katrina Mineta, who's running in HD 58. She is the founder of a local indivisible group that has more than 1,000 people in it. She works as a server during the day, organizes people at night. This is one of the top red to blue opportunities in Michigan. She's amazing. I'm so excited for her. Alex Hawkins, who's running an HD 55 in Michigan. He's an Army veteran, a National Guard officer, grew up in a union family. He's running for state rep to really bring, people first leadership into his office. Daniel Rivera, who's running for Wyoming City Council in Michigan. I think it's very cool to see people who want to make government more accessible and transparent. Hannah Sabio-Howell is running for Washington State Senate. This is against an incumbent who's been in the state ledge for more than almost 20 years. She's a renter in the district where 75% of people are renters. It's the highest percentage in the state. She's trying to take out the state Senate leader. I'm rooting for her. So on and on. But we have so many great candidates, and each one of them has a story that will just make you feel good about government when so much feels bad.
I love that. I love your optimism. I share it too. I think we have a similar kind of view on that, or disposition on it. And I think you have to have it, or it's really hard to do the work every day. But you guys are doing it, and you've been doing it, and you're the real deal. And keep up the great work, man. I really appreciate you talking to me today, and I'll talk to you again soon.
Anytime, Pete. Thanks.
All right. There she goes. Amanda Litman. Run for something. Go support it. Send them your money. Sign up for a monthly subscription. That sounds like a great idea. I cannot endorse that organization more. I am not obviously affiliated with them, but I've been aware of them since their start, I think, when they really first took off. And I talked to Amanda way back when at SiriusXM, so it was great to catch up with her. Go follow her on Threads. Her commentary there is great. Let her know on Threads, if you're there, that you heard her here, because she'll see that. I think she's on Blue Sky as well. Let me check. Oh, yeah. Huge following there. I follow her at Amanda Litman, 1T. Litman. Okay, thanks for listening. Thanks for supporting me this week. Thanks to everybody who came to the Hangouts. Thanks for all your feedback on the video experiment. I'm real excited about the potential that we've got here with that. I'm going to bring someone on to help me for at least a month and maybe more. Really smart woman that I'm excited to work with and get some help on launching the video elements here on YouTube and elsewhere. Hopefully grow the show a little bit, maybe a lot. Who knows? Either way, it's worth the work. You're worth it. I can't do it without you. So thanks. Have an awesome weekend. Wish my dad a happy birthday. I don't know how you're going to do that, but maybe go over to my mom's Facebook and wish her. She'll then read them. Chuck, then this Mike from Michigan said, happy birthday. It's a terrible impression of my mother. She doesn't sound anything like that. All right. Thank you so much. Talk to you later. Have a great weekend. Be the change you want to see. Bye-bye.
When the tyrants taunt you and the sirens teach you, better stand up, stand up. Let the brave meet the challenge, let the meek weak flee. Oh, you better stand up, stand up. When you're tired of begging, saying pretty please, that's the time you gotta finally get up on your knees. When you can't climbing trees, you got to stand up. Hey, you've been sitting so long, you got the creaky knees, you got to stand up. Stand up. I think you're driving wheels with leaking grease. Boy, you better stand up. Stand up. Well, there's a whole lot more of us who know what's right. They'll keep right on ignoring us if we keep sitting tight. You got to open up the window to let in some light. You got to stand up. That's right. We got to rise up. You got to stand up. You got to stare the devil straight in the eye. We got to let him know it's his turn to go. See it clear when all you hear is a lie. Don't get up off of your butt, get down off of your fence. Even if it ain't a very friendly audience, they'll begin to listen when you start making sense. And you stand up, stand up. No need to point your rifle to defend your town. Just stand up, stand up. You know they can't deny you what you're laying down. Boy, you better stand up, stand up. Show your face of every color, yellow, black, red, and brown. This is the place where every lost child will finally be found. There's only one thing to do before we stand our ground, and that's stand up, stand up. Well, the founding fathers saw the land for all. They had to stand up, they had to stand up. They had a keen imagination for a crystal ball, drawing all the plans of stand up. But all they had to go on was the time they were in, with other causes for laws, and since they weren't even sin, they knew that change was gonna come before the change could begin. They had to stand up. All right, they had to stand up. We got to stand up. We got to look the devil square in the eye. We gotta let him know it's his time to go, and make it clear when all we hear is a lie. Why you lying awake wondering where the money all went? It'll be the cost of freedom that'll go unspent. You can see him flee the scene of that experiment if you stand up. Alright, we got to speak up, we got to reach up, and raise your voice in every way you know how. Don't be toes up, you got to show up. Ain't no better time to do it but now. No need to pledge allegiance to no wanton tribe. Rise up, show obedience to the voice inside, and listen well and it'll tell you not to run and hide. It says stand up.